Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. Late live stream. We haven't done one of these for a while. I know people used to like it when we'd come on at around about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Ridiculous times of a night really. But people used to enjoy when we'd come on and we'd sit down and we'd have a little bit of a conversation about Everton Football Club and whatever was going on at that given time. So I thought, you know what? We'll bring it back, a little bit of a late night live stream installation. As I said, I haven't done one for a while, so I thought, you know what, while I'm sitting down here doing nothing, thinking about Everton, we'll bring it back. We are going to talk about Everton's trip to Australia once again today, because I know I said yesterday that, I wasn't going to take too much from these two games and I wasn't particularly interested in them, and, I don't think either of the two games were going to tell us anything that we didn't really know. That was before Everton went and scored 5 goals away from home and ended up winning away game 5-1. And now I've pretty much come to the conclusion that we're winning a lot. Second half of the season, we're doing a title charge. We're quite possibly the best team in the world. And we're all Everton, aren't we? So, yeah, we're absolutely amazing. Now, in all seriousness, look, today's performance was much, much, much better than the performance against Celtic on Sunday. Everton, of course, beating Western Sydney Wanderers by 5-1. Away from home, I say away from home. Obviously, the game was in Australia, and when you were actually watching the live stream today, Everton, of course, were the away team on the score, the score line in the top left-hand corner. Everton were the away team. Then when you watch the highlights, Everton have seemed to have it the scoreline as if Everton were the home team. I don't really know. Listen, it's a friendly in Australia. We all sat here and when we spoke about the Celtic game and said, again, it's not much that we didn't already know, and it's not particularly surprising that we went 90 minutes without scoring a goal. But, today's performance, I think, was a little bit surprising. Obviously, it has to be taken into consideration the opponent, and listen, as I said yesterday, both of these games were friendlies at a point in the season where, those Everton players should be in a much better state than those Western Sydney Wanderer players, because, it's not like we're in pre-season. It's not like they've been on holiday for 2 or 3 weeks. A week ago, these players were playing Premier League football, so their fitness levels, their match fitness, their match sharpness should be, up there at the highest that it could possibly be, because we're smack bang effectively in the middle of a Premier League season. But having said that, as I said, it was the exact same on Sunday. Okay, we played a better team on Sunday in Celtic, but the performance was one that we are used to seeing as Evertonians, isn't it? Not many opportunities, the chances we get missed, and a pretty dire 90 minutes of football for us to all, have to endure. Today was a little bit different, as I said, albeit a different opponent, and albeit an opponent that, with all due respect to Western Sydney Wanderers, aren't at the level of Celtic. But it was still a game of football that needed to be winning. I was really, really impressed with Everton today. Now, as I said, I understand some people will say, Cam, you can't sit here and say, you're dead impressed, when 2 days ago you said you're not really that bothered about the game because it's a friendly. Obviously, I'm being a little bit over-exaggerating when I'm saying we're going to go on and win everything. But, we all watched the game today, or certainly the majority of us will have watched the game today. It was incredibly early in the morning. It's been a full day of football for a lot of people. I've been in work, so that has interrupted it. But we had Everton at 9:15 in the morning until about 10:30. Then we had the first World Cup game, and then obviously every World Cup game since. But it was a really impressive attacking performance for me from Everton, and we saw things today that we haven't necessarily seen before. And that doesn't mean that these are things that we're going to see in the Premier League, because, as I said, the difference in opponents is obviously drastic in the Premier League. But it was good to see us getting forward. It was good to see us creating chances. It was good to see us making opportunities. It was good to see players like Isaac Price in there for 90 minutes, who for me I thought was man of the match by a country mile. I thought he offered us something very different to what we've seen previously in that Everton midfield. Now, again, still a young lad. Whether or not he's ready to play and to have any part in a Premier League fixture going forward, we'll wait and see. Obviously, you will have the question marks now around whether or not he should be loaned out. But for me, Isaac Price completely ran that midfield today, and he was by far Everton's best player. Now, Anthony Gordon scored a hat-trick, so that may be a little bit harsh, and I thought Anthony's finishing was something very positive to take from it as well, because, look, it doesn't matter who the opponent is, doesn't matter whether you're playing Western Sydney Wanderers or whether you're playing PSG, if you're getting opportunities and you're not scoring them, then that's down to your finishing, that's down to your ability as an attacker. And Anthony's finishing today, I thought, was much more improved than what it has been in previous weeks, previous months. But Isaac Price, for me, in the middle of the park, was just absolutely phenomenal, bringing the ball down, coming and getting it, confident, assured, wanted the ball off the defenders. And it was almost like I was watching Isaac Price specifically in moments of the game, and everything was going through him. When the defenders had the ball, they were looking for Isaac Price. When the attackers had the ball, they were looking to see where he was, because more often than not, he had the ball and he was the one playing it through the line. So really, really impressed with his performance today. Would love to see him more often, if I'm being honest with you. And listen, maybe because of the situation that we're in, and because obviously things aren't looking great in the Premier League at the moment, and there is a lot of fear as to whether or not we'll be in a similar, predicament as what we were in towards the back end of last season. Maybe we won't get to see as much of Isaac Price as what we would have liked, but I do genuinely believe he has got a future as a Premier League midfielder at this football club. He just seems to have what it takes. He's big, he's quite physical. I'm sure he could do with maybe beefing up a little bit, but that will come with age. He's only a young lad, he's fairly inexperienced. That will come with age and experience over the years, but he's confident. He was picking the ball up, he was moving it well. I thought some of the other young lads done well when they come on. Tom Cannon obviously getting his first senior goal for Everton. Again, could have had another one or two if his finishing was a little bit better, probably maybe nerves in that. Stanley Mills come on again, he could have had a couple of goals if his finishing was a little bit better, but impressed, still getting forward, putting pressure on teams. But the big sort of takeout of it for me was that Everton looked confident, Everton looked assured, Everton looked Everton look to be in full flow going forward. And as much as we want to sit here and say it's a friendly and we shouldn't get too ahead of ourselves and we shouldn't be too excited, I agree with all of that. I completely agree with all of that. Reality is that we don't very often get to see Everton score 5 goals. I went to America with the Toffee TV lads in the summer, and you'll probably say, I know, Cam, you never stop banging on about it, but I won't stop banging on about it because it was great. But anyway, we went to America for pre-season and watched Everton play Arsenal, who, okay, I've had an absolutely excellent start to the season, and in hindsight, are a very good team, but Minnesota as well. And, not only did we not score a goal in those games, we conceded 6 over the 2 games, and I can't even remember a clear shot on target we had in any of the games. We were absolutely atrocious. So, for as much as we want to sit here and say it's only a friendly and let's not get too excited, I get all that, but it was just nice to see an Everton team in free flow, creating chances. We could have had 6 or 7 today. Now, okay, Western Sydney Wanderers had a couple of opportunities that were a little bit unlucky there, that would work twice. And on another day, maybe they go in and it's a different game. But, Stanley Mills had a chance that, if he wasn't a young lad who was fairly inexperienced, we'd probably be sitting here having a go at him. Tom Cannon had a couple as well. We had many chances to score 6, 7, 8 goals today, and we didn't take them, but we managed to get 5. And it was more the way in which the goals were made and the way in which the goals were finished that impressed me. Not necessarily the opponent, not necessarily the game. I'm not sitting here saying, oh my God, Everton have won 5-1, we're amazing. Well, I did before, but that was being, I was exaggerating. It was more the Maupay goal, a great ball in by Nathan Patterson, showing he's got the quality to do that when he gets forward. Neil Maupay getting his head on the end of it. Now, will he get that much space in the Premier League? Probably not. Will he get that much time in the Premier League? Probably not, but he's shown that if he gets that opportunity, he's capable of putting it in the back of the net. Anthony Gordon's first goal, which was Everton's second, is a really, really nice goal. It's a really, really nice bit of football. And again, would he get that opportunity in the Premier League? It's easy to sit here and say no, because Western Sydney Wanderers aren't anywhere near the level of a Premier League team. But I think there's a lot of Premier League teams at the moment that probably would give you a similar opportunity to the one that we got today. All as it was Damari Gray getting the ball out of his feet. Really, really nice cut back to Abdoulaye Doucouré, who obviously had anticipated the run. That is more than capable of happening in the Premier League. Doucouré putting a good ball in across the box, and Anthony Gordon with a wonderful flick. Again, a goal that could be formulated in the Premier League, but never seems to happen for whatever reason, whether it's a lack of confidence, whether it's a lack of belief in their own ability. We never seem to get forward and try these things in the Premier League. It's always rushed decisions, it's always wrong decisions, and it's never, with the accuracy and with the I don't know the word I'm looking for. the quality, shall we say, that wasn't the word I was looking for, but I'm going to say it, the quality as to what we saw today. And okay, a couple of the other goals, Anthony Gordon's second is awful goalkeeping, Tom Cannon's goal is awful goalkeeping, Anthony Gordon's third is hat-trick, the 5th goal of the game, really, really, really nice finish, really well taken, and again, peeled into the bottom corner, a goal that, would if you saw it in the Premier League, you wouldn't say, oh my God, that's awful defending. It was just a really, really good finish. So, yeah, look, listen, for as much as we might want to sit here and say it's only friendlies and we weren't really that arsed, and listen, I'm not going to lie, full disclosure, I didn't get up at 3:45, on Sunday morning to watch Everton draw 0-0 with Celtic. I didn't, but today, I was there. I watched the highlights after as well, and I was impressed with what I saw, and that's all we can say, really, can't we? We can take everything within the context of the situation. And I know a lot of people on Twitter afterwards were saying, well, it doesn't matter because the 2 games that mattered were before the break against Bournemouth, and we lost both of them. So this friendly, playing well in this friendly, doesn't really matter. But it does matter because there's an old saying in boxing, which is you're only as good as your last fight, and I think it's very similar in football. Really, you're only as good as your last performance, and for as much as we want to sit here and say, well, they couldn't put that performance in when it mattered against, Premier League teams. Precision was the word I was looking for. Thank you, Glenn. And that's absolutely right, and I understand that. All as we can really do is judge off of Everton's last performance. And I sat here yesterday and basically ripped the arse into them for the performance against Celtic, saying it wasn't good enough. The reality was today was much better, and it was much more exciting. And yes, the opponent, of course, is not as good. But I also think it's an element of confidence and self-belief with this Everton team still. And again, whilst, it's very difficult to compare Western Sydney Wanderers with Premier League opposition, because you get into that territory of saying, well, if Western Sydney Wanderers play Bournemouth, what would the score be in that game? So that determines the quality gap. And you'll never ever figure that out, and it's a bit of a pointless conversation. The reality is, I don't think the way in which we played today, when you compare that to the way in which we played Bournemouth before the World Cup break, I don't think the difference in that is purely the quality of the opposition. I really, really don't. I don't think it's a case of, well, we played really well today because Western Sydney Wanderers aren't very good, and we didn't play against Bournemouth because Bournemouth are the Premier League team and we're not as good as them in the Premier League. I don't think it's a case of that. I really don't. I think there's more to it. I think there's more to it in terms of self-confidence. I think there's more to it in terms of self-belief. I think there's more to it in terms of how the players were feeling today. They all seemed to be happy. They all seemed to, be in this side, and once 1 or 2 goals went in, they were feeling themselves. They were confident. They were getting forward. It's not a case of just the quality of the opposition, because Everton 2 weeks ago against Bournemouth, or last week against Bournemouth, sorry, it's been a long week, looked absolutely petrified to get forward, petrified to create any sort of opportunity, lacking in any real not only quality but lacking in any real desire to do anything in the game, whereas today it was constant. And maybe that was because they smelt that this Western Sydney Wanderers defence were liable of conceding goals, and their goalkeeper wasn't very good. But there's multiple teams in the Premier League that haven't to be able to do that against with a bit more confidence, with a bit more self-belief, with a bit more desire. And yes, defensively we'd come under more of trouble than what we did today. But going forward, I still do think this team is underachieving. Do I think this team is good enough to be able to sit here and say we will absolutely stay in the Premier League without any sort of struggle? No, I don't. I think it's desperately in need of quality, and I'm not going to sit here and change my mind on that because we've won one friendly in Australia. Of course I'm not. It's desperately in need of quality, but that doesn't mean I don't think it's underachieving. I don't think when I watched that Bournemouth game last week, that this is the level of this Everton team. This is the max we can get out of this Everton team. Again, I'm not sitting here saying it's good enough and it's purely due to underachieving. We need a striker, we need 2 wingers without a doubt. And, we spoke about Anthony Gordon yesterday, ironically, and, the rumours about him still being on the radar of Chelsea and Tottenham and what that means for January, and if we were to get a decent bid, would we sell him, etc., etc. I'm sure scoring a hat-trick in a friendly game in Australia that, other than Evertonians and Western Sydney Wanderers fans, no one's really asked about, won't have much of a difference on that discussion. But the reality is I do think this team is underachieving in that sense, in the sense of their desire and their confidence in games and their self-belief in themselves, because there's quality there. There's ability there. We're just not getting it out of it. Is there enough? No. But there's more than what is being shown. And I think today we saw in sparks what can be shown. And look, it was a good performance. Without getting too ahead of ourselves, it was nice to see Everton winning a game of football comfortably. And people might say it was a friendly, Cam, it was a friendly. But as I said, I went to America in the summer, and not only did we not win either of those games, but they were far from comfortable watches. You know, I've been to see Everton in friendlies years gone by, and I've seen Everton play League Two teams in the Cup, and we've won, but they've not been comfortable wins. So whether it was a friendly or not, it was just nice to see Everton win comfortably. And I get when people say, yeah, but it's all good winning when it doesn't matter, but they can't win when it matters. Maybe that's the point. Maybe that is exactly the point I'm trying to make. It's not actually to do with the quality of the team. It's actually to do with when it matters, and when it comes down to it, the attacking players specifically, because I don't think it's much based on the defenders. The attacking players specifically can't find that grit and determination to create those opportunities. I don't know. As I said, really impressed with some of the young players. Peter says Cannon, Price and Mills have a future under Lampard. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I think the three of them were very impressive today. Specifically Isaac Price, because Isaac Price, of course, played the entirety of the game. Obviously Tom Cannon and Stanley Mills come on with 20 minutes, half an hour to go, and done well. Tom Cannon obviously getting his first senior goal at Everton. Could have had another one. Had one that was really, really well saved by the goalkeeper at one point, and had one that, again, if he had a little bit more composure, kept it down, it would have been on target and maybe would have went in. Stanley Mills similarly had the goal that Tom Cannon scored come from a Stanley Mills effort, which was spilled, and he had another chance that was cut back, where, again, similar to Tom Cannon, if he had a little bit more composure, and maybe not as many nerves, he would have buried. So really, really impressed. As I said, with those two, a couple of other players come on as well. Joe Anderson, Reece Welsh come on. Reece Welsh come on, of course, sorry. Who I thought done well. Not massively involved, but done well. But for me today, the real standout was Isaac Price, and how Isaac Price fit in that midfield. And look, one really good performance against an Australian side doesn't guarantee that he's going to be able to do that in the Premier League, but I would like to see Isaac Price given an opportunity. If Everton have got a midfield of Onana, Garner and Iwobi and it's not working, and you're looking for something a bit different, you're looking at something to try and change the game, and you look at Zakore and you think, well, we know what he brings, he's not necessarily going to bring anything different. So you look at Tom Davies and you think the same, then why not give Isaac Price a go and see what he can do, see how he can control the game, see how he can come and demand to grab a game by the scruff of the neck, because I watched him today and he was doing an awful lot of that. He was demanding the game by the scruff of the neck. He was coming, picking the ball up. He wanted it. As I said, the defenders were looking at him to pick the ball up and move it. The attackers were looking for him. I thought he was really, really impressive. David says, great header by Mopey. It was a good header by Neil Mopey, to be fair. Impressive. Would be nice if he could do it in the Premier League more often, but it was impressive nevertheless. Adamski says, good performance today, but I don't think Frank is going to learn any lessons from it. Probably back to Joss in our next Premier League game. Well, again, I don't really know what lessons there are to learn from it. I don't think we've done anything specifically too different to what we would usually do. Maybe there's a bit of a change in system, maybe there's a bit of a change in formation to suit, but the Mopey header, it's not down to a change of system by Frank. It's not down to a change of tactic by Frank. It's down to Neil Mopey taking a chance that maybe in the Premier League and in previous weeks he hasn't taken. To be fair, he hasn't really gotten many of those chances, so it's down to Nathan Patterson coming. So maybe the lesson coming up and putting the cross in, so maybe the lesson that is learned is to tell Nathan Patterson to get up the pitch more often and put those crosses in. I don't know. But again, Gordon's hat-trick, down to him taking chances. Gray making the right decision. I don't think it's Frank Lampard saying to Gray, every time you cut in, take a shot. I think that's just Damari Gray trying to, grab the headlines in the Premier League. Whereas this time he didn't do it. He cut it back and we ended up getting a goal from it. David says, are the next 3 or 4 weeks training now until Wolves? I would assume so. Obviously, this is a roundup, so the Australian tour is over. I'm not too sure when the players will head back, but I'm sure they will head back over the next day or so. A draw with Celtic and a win against Western Sydney Wanderers, where the final results, we beat Celtic on penalties. We beat them and we won the Sydney Cup on penalties, but let's be honest, it was a draw. If you were to ask me what I would assume, again, I don't know. I'm not close to Everton. I don't know what the decision will be by the manager. I would probably assume they might get a week off max, or a few days off, and then it will be back in training in preparation for that Boxing Day game, which there is absolutely no excuses about. Willow said thoughts on Ruben Vinagre's defensive ferocity. I thought he was okay today, Ruben Vinagre. Now, obviously, it all has to be taken into context, and it all has to be taken into the context of the opposition we were playing. And whilst I think Western Sydney Wanderers done okay going forward, obviously they hit the bar a couple of times. One of the chances they hit the bar with was absolutely unbelievable. It bounced up to him on the volley outside of the box, and he hit it wonderfully, and there was no chance Asmir Begovic was getting to it. Also, I forgot to mention, nice to see Andy Lonergan making his Everton debut after 45 years of being at the football club today, and obviously getting a clean sheet in that second half. But no, look, again, I thought Vinagre's done okay. I thought he looked positive going forward. Good little couple of nice bits of play in the opposition box to nick the ball around and to use his body, and use his quality well. Defensively, again, he didn't have an awful lot to do. I'm still not quite convinced, to be honest with you. I'm still not quite convinced, but he was all right. I can't say he didn't have a go at him, can I? Because we won the game 5-1, and he was okay. Peter says fell for Oviedo today. Yeah, an absolutely horrific Costa Rican performance in the World Cup, 7-0. I've got a question for you, and I don't know the answer to this, by the way, which is why I'm asking the question. Is that the biggest defeat in an opening World Cup group game ever? I'm not going to say the biggest defeat ever in a World Cup game, because there'll have probably been a game years ago that was. But is that the biggest defeat in an opening World Cup game ever? I'm not sure. Let me know. Somebody will know. Chris says, I saw some positive signs in the game. I noticed one of the wingers trying to get in the box to get on the end of drop balls. Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of times that happened as well. That's something that we haven't seen in the Premier League, so maybe that is a message from the manager. Udin says a World Cup win for Onana. Yes, Amadou Onana come on for 45 minutes in Belgium's win over Canada tonight. 1-0 win. Picked up a yellow card. Not too sure what for, because I didn't watch the game, but there you go. Cam, looking back, what was the top scan that you had whilst you were in America? I don't know, I want to be careful what I say about America, because me and Baz Ped and Matty, and I'm sure John are going to do an AOB on Toffee TV where we talk literally everything about the American holiday, and I'm sure food will be a massive topic of conversation in that video. The video is probably going to be about 4 days long, to be honest, because we've got so many stories. But I would probably say the day we got to Minnesota, we went to this Everton event. I say Everton event. It was an event at a bar place, like a warehouse bar. Before the game against Minnesota, it was the day before, and in that warehouse bar, in the corner, they had like a little food stall. And it was Mexican food, and the food was phenomenal. I had nachos, I had quesadillas. It was unbelievable, to be honest with you. It was unbelievable. That was probably my favourite meal over there. Price, baby, says Glenn. Willow says, can't give anyone less than a 7 out of 10 that night, but the pizza can have a 2. Which pizza? Am I missing something here about pizza? It isn't a new haircut, Liam. And where's the Alice band? Go on, says Peter. Listen, as I said yesterday, I got a lot of stick for that in the comments. It was there because I needed to wash my hair, and I hadn't washed my hair yet. That was why it was there. No other reason. And it's gone now. It's gone. But yeah, look, I just thought I'd do a little short video just to round up the trip to Australia. Not really to round up, is it? The training videos looked good. Made up that the players got to have a week of a nice holiday and a nice break. But the reality is, listen, as much as we can sit here and say, they don't deserve it. They've gone over there and they've had a holiday and they've been and this, that, and the other. I seen a tweet the other day saying, "Fucking hell, Andy Lonergan must have a great life." And this was obviously before he made his debut today. Because obviously there was a video of the players climbing up some bridge thing in Australia, and it looked great. But look, the reality is, it's always great to do things like this. It's great for the club financially because they would have been given a significant amount of money to go over there. It's great for those fans. I mean, Willow says got to experience my first ever live Spirit of the Blues. Currently at work with no voice, but want to get back into Sunday League after experiencing Everton and all. So there you go. That's what it's about, isn't it? That's what it's about ultimately. If as much as we sit here and say, the players have got to go away on holiday when they've not played, they haven't got to go away on holiday. They've gone away to play a couple of games. They've won both games. One of them wasn't great. One of them was much better in that heat as well, and those conditions, which isn't easy. The players seem to have all loved it from their social media posts, and a lot of them spoke very highly of the experience in itself, and from the way in which they played today, seemed to be a very happy sort of performance. And ultimately, if that helps the club, if that helps the players, if that helps the mindset and the general sort of feeling around the club, the general sort of mood around the football club, if that helps it, then it's done its job. It's done its job financially in terms of bringing in money. It's done its job for all of those Evertonians that have got to witness Everton in the flesh for the first time ever. And it's done its job for the players if it has improved the mood because of the trip. They need to back it up now with a win against Wolves on Boxing Day, a result against Manchester City, dare I say, and then a win in the new year against Brighton. And then the club need to back it up by going and bringing in some players, because that's what we need. The Blues says, "Subcam mate, a wee bit quiet here, maybe Mike a bit far away." No, it's just that it's late at night and me body sort of thinking, go to bed, lad. So I'm being a little bit more quiet. I apologise. Peter says, "Cam, these late ones are boss, mate. Please do more." There you go. If you like the late ones, let me know, because I'm all for doing more, mate, because I'm only sitting here playing COD anyway, and it does me head in. And Eugene says, "Everton £15 million star heading towards exit." Is he? Who's the £15 million star then? Because I've missed that one. Anyway, we are going to leave it there. Everton down under. 2 wins, 2 games, 1 penalty shootout, 5 goals scored away from home, an Anthony Gordon hat-trick, an Andy Lonergan debut, and loads of belter training videos and belted experiences for the fans. So there you go. Overall, a success. Some people will say they're not asked. Some people will say a success. Some people will say, can we just forget about Everton until Boxing Day? I don't know. Big thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please leave a like. Glenn says, "Cam, if you travel to Sydney, what would be the most exciting? Signing an Aussie beer and barbecue, seeing a kangaroo at the zoo, or going surfing, or visiting Blue Mountains?" All of it, mate. All of it. Eugene says, "Michael Keane, if we can get 15 million for Michael Keane, mate, I'll drive him wherever's willing to pay." David says, "Thank you, do more. Cheers, mate, appreciate it. And Aussie beer is shite," says Willow. There you go. Anyway, big thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please leave a like. Subscribe if you're new. It would mean a massive amount to me. And we'll see you soon.